Hey folks, going to be doing another unboxing here of a new Kickstarter that just arrived. This one is called Botany A Victorian Expedition. Um, I don't think I have any games from this publisher. This is Duke's Somnium. Dux Somnium, maybe? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. DUX and then Somnium. Uh, Essentially in this game is sort of like again, Victorian Englandish. You're going around the world collecting flower specimens. That's what's in the base box. I did get all the expansions. So there's an expansion that adds like poisonous carnivorous types of plants. There's another expansion that adds a bunch of trees. But you're sort of from what I gather, you're just collecting these specimens and sort of scoring points at the end of the game. All right, Kitty. Like I said, I did get all the expansions. There is a sort of mini expansion that has roses in it. A very thin deck of cards for the roses. All right, Kaya, you're gonna have to stop. So here's the boxes. A little disappointed in this. So these are the two bigger expansions. The one with it's called Tantalizing Trees. Again, they all come with just additional cards. This one's Tantalizing Trees. This one is Perilous Perfumes. It's very simple in these expansion boxes. There's just a well for the bigger cards, well for the standard playing cards, and then a well for the mini cards. That's all that's in here. But they put this UV spotting on these boxes, and they look really nice. And it looks like you could set them on your shelf, and it looks like they're books. But there's no need for them because all that stuff fits in here, and I don't want two boxes sitting beside. You couldn't even stack them on top of each other. They don't. They're oversized in the box. It's just, I think it's a waste. It sucks because it's such that they're so nicely done that you want to keep them, but there's no point to. I don't really have the space, so I'm not going to keep these boxes. They're just going to get thrown out, unfortunately. The Rose expansion is basically just a small deck of cards. Like I said, it doesn't come in a big box or anything. It was just vacuum sealed. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. Again, we have Rulebook, Rules of Play, Victorian Expedition, Overview, traveling the world in search of fame, fortune, and the coveted Queen's Prize in Botany. So you're essentially gathering things to get that prize. It is a linen finished rulebook, which is nice. Still a little glossy, but it's not terrible. Feels good in the hand. But game board setup, you've got how to play, the overview, player turns in detail, so forth and so on. More details. How to sabotage another player. Love that when I see it in a rule book. Love sabotaging another player. Ending, how the game ends. Scoring example. This is great, especially if your end game scoring is a little complex. It's good to see a whole scoring example laid out. Solo mode rules. So you can play this by yourself. And let's see, is this game historically accurate with regard to event and specimen locations? It's loosely based on absolutely true events. So yes and no. Let's see, this plays, I want to say this plays 1 to 5 as well. Yes, 1 to 5. 45 to 90 minutes, supposedly. And yeah, that's the rule book. Then we have the board here. It is a fold-out mounted board. I do have, my board is smashed on the side here a little bit. It's kind of hard to see. You might be able to see it like that. I don't know if you can kind of see it indented a little bit. That's where it's smashed against here. I'm not overly worried about it. So the back of the board has a bunch of specimens. This looks really cool. This is just the back of the board, so it shows all the flowers and whatnot. And then the front of the board just flip this over and have to tear it to pieces. So I'm always worried about messing up or ripping the board. So here's the board itself. You can see all the different locations you can go to, reputation track down here. You've got slots for all the various decks of cards and where they're going to go, etc., etc. Looks pretty good. Pretty nice map, if I do say so myself. Then we have, so these are the expansions. These are the Perilous Perfumes and Tantalizing Trees expansions. Again, they're just single sheets, and they're basically, it tells you what the cards are. The setups for both of them are basically shuffle all the cards in here, or add the character cards as options to choose from, complete the setup as normal, and then add the garden feature cards for each expansion next to the base game, essentially. So there's just different sets of cards that go in, but that's it. There's no other special rules, they're just more cards. Here we have all the player boards. So there's a player board for each person. They are double-sided, but not playable double-sided. The backside is just sort of this leather-looking material. But you have a section for your garden, your live specimens, and your pressed specimens. And then your estate income here over on the left. And there's 5 boards for 5 players. We have 2 D6s with a flower symbol on the one side. Looks pretty cool. It actually feels different than a normal D6. Like, it's plastic, but it's very matte. It's not shiny at all. Then we have some pawns. Different pawns. Reminds me of like Parcheesi, like the old style board games. You have the little wooden pawns with the different shapes. So that's 2 for each player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 colors. Then we have various cards. So there's these cards in the center here are the cards that came with the base game. These look like sort of item cards that allow you to do different things. I'm assuming it's a cost down here. Different artwork. It reminds you of like what you would see in an old book. The artwork does anyways. So that's kind of cool. Over here in this we have the same style of cards, or the same decks, but these are the split into the 2 expansions. So one of these is the poisonous plants, and then the other one is the trees, and they're just more item cards. I kept them separate for right now because I want to look through them a little bit and see. I'm assuming I'm just going to add them all into one giant deck and be done with it. But and then the same thing over here. The normal size playing cards. First, the ones with the dice on the back. These are just reference cards that show you the player turns. And then you have all kinds of other. Well, this is one giant deck here with the ship on the back. Unruly Mule, Rough Terrain. I think these are all events. Delightful Hues, Aggressive Bees, and then there's a bunch of text with the artwork. Beautiful artwork, in my opinion. I really like these old style pictures like that. And again, this is the deck that came with the base game, and then over here are the 2 decks that came with the 2 expansions. This is, that's roughly how many cards come in each expansion, and it's just more of those cards. And again, I kept them separate because I wasn't sure if I was going to mix them together yet or not. We'll get to this in a second because I have some stuff to say about that. Up here we have the base game. I forget what these cards are called, but these are basically the flower cards. So you'll see just pictures like you would see in a book about this stuff. They're gorgeous. I'm assuming these are points, or I don't know what the meaning of the numbers are yet, but It gives you the name of the specimen, the location. There's a when acquired, you gain one expedition card. That's what these little ones must be called, as expedition cards. So there's just a ton of these, and these are all. You can see how thick that is. These are like tarot size cards, I guess you would call them. And these are the ones that came in the base game. And then here are the ones that came in the 2 separate expansions. Where's that split? Here it is. So these are all the tarot cards that came with the expansions, and there are character cards here, which is a nice little portrait, the name, their special ability, etc. There are these are the separate cards you set aside, the 5 cards in the rule book. It says you set aside next to the game board, and then you just have a ton more of the flower cards. Again, these are the 2 decks for the expansions that I kind of kept separate, just because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do anything with them yet or not. Then we have the Regal Roses. This is the little mini expansion. It comes with 1 extra character, which I already stuck in this deck, or in here. And then 7 specimen cards. That's what those are called, specimen cards. But there's these cards which you set aside, and then here's all there's a bunch of character cards. Again, old-timey pictures, love that. And then there's a couple other different decks of cards, which I'm not sure what they do just yet, but they're there. And this was all with the base game, except for the Regal Roses one. That only added 8 more cards, so I just went ahead and mixed that in. So that's all the cards. Now let's come to this. So here is the little tray that comes with the game for the cardboard money tokens. You have 5s, you have 3s, and you have 1s. And they do a very very decent job of fitting in here. My problem with this is that this is domed. So you can kind of see how it's arched. It doesn't allow, well, it probably will allow them all. The tokens can come up over the dividers and go into each other. Now, you have to work at it to get them to, but it's still possible. So I would have liked to have seen the dividers come up a little higher and be domed themselves. I appreciate that they're domed. That way you can come above the wells with the tokens and not be crushing them. But that's my complaint about that. And there's a little well here for it to go in. Nice and smooth. Now these are the metal coins. Here's another. So great. Love the bag. Let's get some of these out of here. All right. So really good looking metal coins. They feel good in the hand. They come like pre-patinaed a little bit, so they don't look brandy new. They look well worn. My concern is that this metal, they come with this little cloth bag, which is nice. The number of coins that come in the metal coin expansion do not match the number of coins that are, in the base game. There's actually less metal coins in that, so to speak, expansion that come with the base game, and I need to find out if that's going to be an issue, or not. I don't know if money is finite, and they just, when they did the metal coins, I realized, okay, you don't actually need 25 3 coins. We can get away with 15, because the metal coins come with 15 5s, 15 3s, and I forget how many 1s, but so there's 50 of the 1s in the cardboard. There's probably like 25, 26 of the threes, and there's at least 16 of the fives. So you have less of each denomination in the metal coins. I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. I'm going to have to do some digging on Board Game Geek to find out. But that is Botany here. Let's go ahead and get all this back in. Everything does fit fairly nicely. Where did that go? Here we go. And it was in there like that. And the rule book. I want to try to keep the damaged section of the board against that. So if it damages it more, it's just that same section. But it's not going to be getting shifted around, so I don't think it's going to be damaged that much more. So that is the unboxing for Botany A Victorian Expedition. Again, we'll get the two. Again, these boxes look so good. There's a spot UV on this box as well, and it looks good. It doesn't. The side of it is not. It doesn't look as good as these do. These look like little books, like you would have on these subjects. Like this is the book of carnivorous plants, and it's like, you know, not pocket size, but you know what I mean, like smaller size, like you would have and you would carry with you and jot down notes as you found these specimens, etc. That's what these look like, and it's all I always combine everything I can into the biggest box because I don't have a ton of room, and like I appreciate the thought and effort that went into these two boxes, but I just can't I can't see myself keeping these around. But anyways, that is the unboxing for Botany A Victorian Expedition. Thanks for watching.